Hello and good morning. Welcome to another installment of Spiritual Baptist 100 years from now. And in keeping with our vision to ensure that Spiritual Baptists 100 years from now are in a much better place than we are today, we have with us Reverend Bishop Victor Philip, the founder and executive president of Mission of Faith. And this morning we are going to be discussing a bit about the work of Mission of Faith is doing and how they're doing that and the impact it is going to have on society. So good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, Ian. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Right, no problem. It is our pleasure to have you. So tell us, how did Mission of Faith come into being?
Mission of Faith started way back when I was a young man. It just wasn't formalized. I got into business and then I recognized that there was a lot of work in the community to be done. I recognized that government wasn't able to do it. And nobody seemed to be doing it. And after a couple of years, I went abroad, I came back home and started to do just what I was doing abroad. I opened a halfway house in Jersey, and I was ordained at Orthodox Catholic Church. They sent me to school. Training was important as a priest. And I came home and I looked at what's happening in the Baptist community, and I documented it. And in documenting it, I decided I choose the direction I would go in, and we set up the structure, the infrastructure to go into that direction, and we've been successful in doing that.
All right. So Mission of Faith has been formalized.
Yes, it's formalized.
Right.
Incorporated on the 29th of October 2004.
Right. And you just recently had installation of directors.
First board of directors.
First board of directors.
Yes.
So how the Mission of Faith, this NGO, how do you sustain yourself? How do you receive your funding, as it were?
When I came in, what I found out is that when you make applications to civil society and to government, the funding wasn't available. There's always a problem. Either they didn't like your application, or you are PNM, or you are UNC, or you are Baptist. So we decided that we put together a system of funding, and we formed a company by the name of Inch by Inch Construction and Manufacturing Limited. And people ask, why manufacturing? Well, I've been in manufacturing in the garment sector before I left the country. Before I left Trinidad, I had a garment factory in George Street, supplying Stephen & Johnson's and Fogarty's and Numbers and those big shops. So I had manufacturing, construction and manufacturing, the name of the company, and we have operated successfully.
All right. So based on the principle that we know our God has no limits, so you created a company that was not limited by its title.
No.
Right? So you're into construction and manufacturing. So that you have a dual source.
Dual source.
Of
scope.
Scope for growth.
Yes. Scope for growth, yes.
So now that you have established this self-generating system, Mission of Faith is more, well, I shouldn't say more or less, it is
self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient.
Funded by, has been funded by Inch by Inch over the years.
Yeah.
And when Inch by Inch not able to fund it, it's been funded by me, for my personal savings, myself and Carol like Copeland, who also part of this organization and foundation.
Right.
So we funded whatever funding is required.
So what structure? Where do you get your guidance in terms of how you set up, and what is the source of your
First, let's go back a bit. I was fortunate in the early in the 70s, 80s, when the government at the time, under the leadership of Dr. Williams, has established the Trinidad and Tobago Productivity Center. The Trinidad and Tobago Productivity Center was funded by the World Bank and managed by the International Labour Organization. And I was fortunate to be selected to undergo the 4.5 years implant training under Clyde James and Grace Stalmer and Kim Rajnado and Joe Padilla, who was assigned to train me for 4.5 years into manufacturing and into all aspects of manufacturing. At the same time, the program used to do that, the management tool used to do that was a tool they call work study.
All right, so
work study.
Work study. Now, this is the first I have encountered work study. Can you give us some more insight into what the work study program is about?
Well, work study was established by the Germans during the war, when they were enslaved the Jews. And you didn't have to have the knowledge to assemble anything. They will teach, you'll be taught one part of the assembly to manufacture a submarine. And they developed time and motion, and they started to teach that the United Nations started to use that as a means of training the staff in different countries. So work study was used in Trinidad when they set up the Management Development Center, and they were training middle management and upper level management into work study procedures, which is meta study and work measurement. In other words, work study, the term for work study is critical examination of all activities of work, so as to perfect the available, what is the proper way to do it, or the best way to do it. How can you improve what you're doing so that you create a level of efficiency within the job place?
So once anyone engages in this, they have an in-depth or inside knowledge of how things work.
Exactly, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is that we pray, we make supplications, we go into the mono room, we have all the different things in the Baptist community, but what we lack is understanding how things work, and to develop business, for there to be growth in business, you must understand, you have to understand how things work. And we know what we're doing because we understand how things work. We have done the research with Mission of Faith and Inspires Construction. We have done work for UTT. We have done work for education facilities. We have done work on the port. We have done work for East Prospect Development Company. All successful, completed our projects on time, within budget. We have issue with one particular state company. That's an arbitration now, and we're waiting on the arbitrator. Hoping by the end of we understand how things work. So we're able to set up Mission of Faith now as an NGO that is self-sufficient, not dependent on the politician or private or civil society for funding.
Right. So this is a model.
It's a new system. It's a model system that every NGO could pattern and follow.
Yes.
So they're not dependent on government. And the community will benefit because you're talking about community-oriented organizations.
Right, and this has benefits that will impact the national...
Crime.
Yes.
Job creation.
Yes.
In the agriculture sector, in the garment sector, in construction.
Right, and it will also give the youths
an opportunity.
An avenue, yes.
For employment.
Yes.
For employment, because all right, the present system that's available now is that they're training people who, at the end of their training, cannot find employment. because they're not adequate for commerce.
Yes.
You know, they're not adequate. If you employ a guy from the university now who is an engineer, and he comes to work, and you employ him inch by inch, you have a problem because you have to teach him what to do.
Yes.
He's just qualified with a degree.
He has theory.
That's about it. But practical experience, he has no practical experience.
Yes.
Right? And it started something in every sector. So what we're endeavoring to do is to say, well, all right, you can come with your degree, but you have to undergo our training program within our organization.
Right.
Before we employ you.
So inch by, no, not inch by inch.
Mission of
Faith.
Mission of Faith.
Yes. Mission of Faith is really a multifaceted organization.
It is.
Because more than just the output, it is also providing a service to the graduates of the university or any graduate who seeks to gain that experience.
Exactly. For instance, we want to develop a curriculum for the Baptist community.
Yes.
All right, for the bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
We've spoken to the university. They have done the framework for us. We're going to put now a curriculum council in place.
Right.
All right, that curriculum council is going to look at the framework that we have from the university and provide the curriculum, and then we send that out to our partners so we have the proper documentation to do that degree.
I like the fact that Mission of Faith is not a singular in its vision.
No.
So we know that because it's not singular in vision. That
God is singular. God is not singular.
I was about to say that.
God is not singular.
That we know it didn't come from man.
No,
it had to come from God. Yes.
God is not singular. God. When you get a vision from God, it's not singular.
Yes.
You know, it's multifaceted.
Yes.
You see,
and it's not about any.
It's not about me. It's not about I. It's about community. It's about the team. How you can put together a team to manage this thing, and make sure the team has the right training to manage it. They know what to do. They understand the economy.
Right.
And they have that spiritual background.
And then you have a society now where you have individuals going out into society with a high level of competency
and integrity.
Yes. Right, because of the training that they have received.
Exactly.
Yes.
Competence and then the integrity and the competence. Because you look at the system, look at the present system. Nothing is working.
Yes.
Why is it not working? You say, well, you want to blame the government. But yeah, you can blame the government, yes. But what has happened, you haven't trained the people, the personnel. But you expected them. Efficiency.
Yes.
No, how can you get an efficient worker if you didn't train them?
Yes.
It's impossible. So you talk when you speak about low productivity.
Yes.
You first have to understand: do we need to retrain our workforce?
Yes.
And how are we going to go about training our workforce? So you ask the questions: when, who, what? Use the 5W techniques and see where we are as a nation in terms of productivity. It's not about giving the man more work.
But you know, like let's say public sector, you go to access service in an organization, and you say, well, I'm here to receive so and so, and then they tell you, well, before you come to us, you have to go to this other organization. You go to that other organization and say, but you ain't getting the document from them. So now you, as the individual trying to access this service, find yourself wondering, well, what is going on here? Because these people are telling you one thing, and these people are also telling you one thing.
And it's a simple answer to that.
Yeah.
They haven't studied or investigated who is doing what and when they're doing it.
Right.
Who is doing what, when they're doing it, and how it's supposed to be done.
Yes.
And they have not improved it over the years. So in other words, what they were using 15, 20 years ago, they're still trying to use it now. It can't work.
Right.
Technology has changed things. Everything is digital now. All right. In other words, we have moved from an industrialized economy to a digital economy. However, Trinidad and Tobago has not moved into that digital economy
Fully.
Well, I would say they have moved at all, because if cameras are not on our streets, and if you have people coming into an area that is new, you're now coming in, and you come in with telephones and internet, and you're not thinking cameras and Wi-Fi and to create that digital environment.
Right. So
to deal with crime.
All right. So because we have not brought in the full package,
No.
in effect, we have not brought in anything.
Anything. Because what you are bringing is just the telephone
It's just minimal benefits.
and internet, broadband.
Yes. And there are no checks and balances.
No checks and balances.
No infrastructure to support.
No. So you have crime in those areas. Crime is continue to multiply. Nobody's watching, nobody is seeing, because there's no evaluation or monitoring of the community, because you fail to bring in a simple thing like a camera.
Right. All right.
A simple thing as a camera. And that's happening in communities right now. Cashew gardens are just happening in right now.
Right.
The wireless coming in, they're not bringing in cameras.
Yes.
So crime is going to just show up a morning. And then they'll say, hey, look, crime show up here. No, it's been festering all the time.
Right.
Because you have young men not doing anything, not being trained to do anything.
So Mission of Faith is proposing to educate these young men.
Yeah, exactly.
Give them an alternative.
Something to think about.
Right? And reduce the amount of individuals who would have the propensity or the opportunity to get involved
in crime.
That's right. So that will impact the national,
and as a national program,
right? So
just as an example, look at Moruga.
Yes.
We have 10 acres in Moruga. Cocoa.
Yes.
All right. They stole all the trees from the land. All the seeds that they cut.
Yeah.
The roads are bad. No access roads at all.
All right.
So what you have in Moruga is young men with absolutely nothing to do.
Yeah.
So the only thing in Moruga to do is plant weed and run contraband. Now, the politicians are aware of it, but what can they do? They're not thinking about using the resources of the country to retrain the population to do the things that will reduce crime. In other words, let us look at the preventative measures.
Right.
Job creation.
Right. So before we get to the idea of we're going to police these people.
Exactly.
Let's just look at a solution that prevents
the crime.
So we're looking proactively rather than reactively.
Exactly.
Now, off camera we were talking about worldwide governments and how governments generally operate in a reactionary, and the civil society boards, the NGOs, are the ones who have to drive this proactivity, right? To some degree, because the NGOs are the ones on the ground.
Yes.
They're actually interacting with the people and getting a real feeling for what is needed. When we look at Mission of Faith and how they interact with the people going forward, I know that because of the multifaceted nature, that you're going to be looking in different areas, not just construction and business, but you're also looking at the elderly.
Yes. Well, we had a call on Friday. An elderly gentleman in my neighborhood fell. And we responded, myself and Bishop Placid. And when we visited the home, the gentleman is 84 years of age. His wife is 75. Now, she's trying to lift him up, but he's pulling her down. There's no assistance to these elderly people. Now, a country, you can determine the level of a country by how they treat the elderly. Now, if you call the system, if the system have gotten that call, what happened? Nowhere they can get an officer on that site. We as an NGO, was able to get there, at least with some comfort to the elderly people. That's one of the areas that is critical in our economy, how we treat our elderly. I know a centurion who has a problem with her eyes. The family needed advice. We called the ministry about 3 weeks ago. Up to now, nobody ever attended to that situation. She's 100 years old. That person has been a postmistress in a neighborhood. So you have situations in the environment, in the communities, that the state is willing to look after. they just do not have the human resource capability to do.
Right.
And there is where civil society has to function. I want to quote Ban Ki-moon. Ban Ki-moon said, look at Africa today. Malaria is non-existent. And a woman could breastfeed a baby. Why? Because civil society invested in the health of the community.
Right. So
in this case in Trinidad, what we need is civil society invest in crime, to reduce crime by using preventive measures, job creation and education, retraining the population.
All right. So we're looking down the road and we're thinking about, okay, we're going to bring these young people in and we're going to train them.
Yes.
Give them the knowledge of how things work so that they can be productive members of society and they can impact on the national landscape by their competency. And their integrity.
Right. So you're building capacity.
So therefore what we are doing is creating future mentors.
Future mentors.
People who the younger ones coming up under them can look to them for guidance.
For training.
Right? So we're really setting a foundation.
Yes. You're training the trainer.
Right? For a strong future. And having built this strong future now, we can see now, having that strong foundation, that in the future that we won't have such a problem with crime.
Nope.
We won't have such a problem with poverty.
Nope.
Or we won't have such a problem where people are not concerned about their brother man.
Exactly. No, poverty will always be in us.
Yes.
But we can reduce the level of poverty in our communities if we can do all those things.
Yes.
But it's not being done. So what is happening is the resources of the country, which is supposed to be spent to see to it that the community is benefit, is not being spent in that direction.
Yeah, it's being usurped otherwise.
Yes. So you have, the community has, there's nothing happening in the community at this point in time. There's no activity in the community to create growth in the community. Because they have absolutely nothing to do.
Right.
Job, no prospect or hope of getting a job.
Right.
It's a hopeless kind of a environment.
And we know that
and that's where we play an important part. Disseminating whatever information is available.
Yes.
So as to give people hope.
And we know that the criminal organizations or elements, they are recruiting at a younger and younger age as they go forward.
They join for food.
Right? And when,
bread and water.
Yeah, because I can give you something to eat.
Food, yes.
I can supply what
a phone card
where you are not getting elsewhere.
Yes.
Where
not elsewhere, where you cannot get at all from nowhere.
Yeah.
Because those that are doing well and they look up in the skies.
Yeah.
They shut the gates of the evenings. They're not contributing anything to the welfare of those that are poor.
Yes.
So the poor is getting poorer, and those in the middle, they say, well, we in the middle class and we losing this and that.
Yeah.
But when they get down here, they realize what they really have lost.
Yeah.
And those at the top keep getting, because the politicians keep them there. Yeah. That's where the funding comes.
Yes, if you want my support, you have to give me something.
You have to give me something
in return.
Right. But when you come to the bottom here, they give you something here, they give you a vote.
Yes.
But they get nothing in return for their vote.
Yes.
Not even the services that is required in the system.
All right. So, all right, we just about out of time in this installment of Spiritual Baptist 100 Years From Now. I know we have one more issue, a national issue that we want to talk about. That there's this organization who has brought a law or petition or whatever it is to Parliament where they want to repeal the Buggery law. And in our Constitution, it is enshrined in our Constitution, the moral and spiritual values.
Yes, our Constitution is clear.
Yeah.
The politicians are supposed to be protecting us.
Yes.
From anything that is not good for us.
Yes.
So enshrined in the Constitution is the right of an individual to life, liberty, security of person, enjoyment of property, and the rights due process of law. The rights of an individual to equity before protection of the law. Rights of an individual to respect of the privacy of life. The right to join political parties. The right right of parents and guardians to choose the true education. The freedom of movement. Freedom of conscience and religious belief and observance. Freedom of thought and expression. Freedom of association and assembly. And freedom of the press.
Right. So that freedom, all those freedom clauses there. If, let's say, now as Christians, spiritual Baptists, the Holy Bible is our chart and compass.
Chart and compass.
And in our chart and compass, it has been established that the God we serve considers these things to be ungodly.
Ungodly, yes.
And if the powers that be, who are guided by the Constitution,
to protect the Constitution,
and uphold it,
yes,
should allow this ungodly thing to take place, then they are violating their charge as protectors of the Constitution.
They are, because they're supposed to protect the Constitution, protect the society from any unlawful.
Because the populace has put them there to do so.
To do a job.
To do
so if you're going to have a law,
yes,
protecting people from a certain thing,
yes,
and you're saying you're removing that now,
yes,
so you're free now
to break the
law,
to be lawless,
or to be immoral,
yes,
or lawless,
right.
Then I hold you, the politician, accountable.
Yes.
And I hold you accountable to God.
Yes.
And you're going to reap the wrath of God.
Yes. Because the Bible, as our chart and compass, guides us and says that not one jot, not one tittle of sin shall enter therein. And if God considered this act, this reprobate mind, to be ungodly, and we allow that, then we are basically saying that we are allowing all types of sin to enter into society.
And sin is not a thing that you want to encourage.
Right. And when we are already battling with
all the other issues that have been let loose in society because of decisions that politicians made in the past. Prohibition is a crime. Yeah. Prohibition of the Baptist community is a crime against a people.
Yes.
And you did nothing about it until representation was made.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Why it is now you have a law and you want to remove it to create a crime against another people?
Well, the lack of discipline that we have in schools now, I would akin it to when they removed the corporal punishment.
Yes.
Because spare not the rod and spoil a child. Yeah?
Exactly.
But we are out of time, and I will invite you to come back at your convenience, and we will continue this very enlightening discussion on mission of faith and the work that they're doing, and other matters as God would have us.
Yes.
Right? So this has been another installment of Spiritual Baptist 100 years from now. Keep viewing.